Namaste yogis, this is Stephen from YogaWorks, and today I'm going to take you through a practice called Take Flight in Crow. Taking flight, it sounds a little bit scary I guess, but the crow pose is often the first arm balancing pose that pretty much everybody has the capacity to learn, and often we think it's some kind of brute strength involved to push yourself up on your arms, maybe your shoulders need to be super strong, and well, there's a little bit of that of course. But I find a big part of learning crow pose or any arm balance is really to develop the skill and the technique, as well as the little bit of strengthening pose. Often we say the pose is only secondary, it's not the most important thing in yoga, which is absolutely true. But the crow pose is one of those poses that often gives people a sense of achievement, of confidence, of overcoming some kind of fear or obstacle that was there before, which is a really valuable lesson, of course, to take into our daily lives. We're all going to meet some obstacles, and if we show up in a genuine way, we chip away bit by bit in our practice or in our daily lives, then we can overcome those obstacles. So it's a great way to learn how to overcome that. I'm going to be taking you through practice, which will prepare all the elements for the crow pose, and then at the end we'll try it out. Remember also the pose, whether you finally manage to do it or not, is less important than actually showing up, the preparation, the awareness of your body and how it functions. And then the pose is, you could say, the cherry on the cake. Good, let's start lying down. And just bend your knees with your feet flat on the mat. And rest your hands on your belly or your chest, or I prefer to do one hand on the belly, one on the chest. Often when we're going to try a more challenging yoga pose, which crow is, then the first thing that will be affected is our breath. So it's a good thing to start with right now, just to feel the flow of the breath, the sense of grounding and calm presence in the body. And as much as possible, we're going to try to keep this throughout this whole practice, even when things get a little more demanding later on. We'll do a couple of deeper counted breaths. I'll guide you through it. Exhale all the breath out for a moment. And then inhale into your hands for 2, 3, 4. Stay full for a moment. And then exhale all the breath out for 2, 3, 4. Relax at the bottom and hold. Again, inhale 2, 3, 4, feel the hands rise, fill up, hold. Exhale 2, 3, 4, pause, stay empty. Last one, inhale 2, 3, 4, hold your breath. And exhale 2, 3, 4. Let your breath return to normal. And then you can blink your eyes open. Start to reach your hands up towards the ceiling as if you're doing a plank or a crow pose on the ceiling. And then lift your shoulders a little bit. So you're pressing the hands up as far as they'll go, flexing the wrists. And just feel how the chest is activated here, and the upper back is a little bit rounded, it's pushing out, the shoulder blades are sliding apart. Now keep this and start to lift your knees up towards the elbows, or if you can, a little bit lower down the upper arms. Nice. And then lift the head as well, so round your whole back and lift the hips, lift the shoulders, push your hands up. This is crow pose on your back. You've already done it straight from the start of the session, so your yoga practice is successful. Actually, it's crane pose because our arms are straight. Push up for another moment or so, and then release. It's often good to practice the shape of the pose in a slightly easier to access position. It's some tough core work, this, but everybody can do it. And now bring your knees together without holding with your hands. Squeeze them into your chest. Move your knees a little bit left and reach your hands up and forward to the right. So this is another pose in the crow family, the side crow. Lift your hips, lift your shoulders, especially the right shoulder, which tends to stay glued to the mat sometimes. And then release straight to the other side, the knees to the right, arms to the left. Push out and away, contract your abdominals, push out through the hands, squeeze your legs together, and release. As it's coming to happy baby pose, you can bring the ankles above your knees, and if it's too hard to hold the feet, just hold behind the backs of the knees, or you can hold your shins or your ankles, or if it's possible, the edges of your feet, and try to lengthen your spine out on the mat as much as possible. And then just for a moment, check where your feet are, where the legs are, and then start to release the hands, but try to keep your legs exactly in the same position. So now suddenly this becomes a strength pose for your hip flexors. They're pulling the knees down without the help of your hands, which is one of the actions we're going to need in our crow pose. Nice. And then release. Wrap your arms around the shins. Squeeze in for a moment. And then slowly rock up to sitting. We're going to be doing a brief wrist preparation because obviously all the weight's going to be on the hands. And if we don't prepare our wrists, then we might get into injury if we do this very often without taking care of the wrists. So turn your fingers out to the sides, your hands or wrists about shoulder distance apart, and then just circle around. So you're going to one side and forward, to the other side and back, just making a big circle all the way around the wrists, moving weight into the one hand and then into the other, and change direction of the circle. And if you feel any pinching sensation, just don't go further in that direction. Back off a little bit if you need to. And then turn the wrists all the way forward with the fingers back. If it's too hard, then walk your knees a bit closer. Or if it's okay, then you can come into a normal kneeling position. And then press down through the outer wrists and push your elbow creases, push them forward. So you're getting a nice stretch at the insides of the wrists and the forearms. And then if you want, you can rock backwards and forwards a few times. And when you go back, your wrists might lift a little bit. That's okay if that happens. A couple of times, stretching the insides of the forearms. And then release that. Now make fists and push down. And then place the outsides of your hand on the mat with the knuckles facing towards each other. And I like to walk the knuckles all the way together so they're pushing in. And then press the outsides of the hands down. Squeeze your fingers into the palms. And then just straighten the arms a little bit. And then pretty soon I get to a situation where I have to choose either I straighten my arms more, but then I have to release the grip of the fingers, or I keep the fingers and then my arms just don't straighten that far. I prefer that option. So now we're stretching the top of the forearm, top of the wrist, and then slowly release. Just make little circles with your fists here. And then come into kneeling again, and then come into cat pose, which is the one where we round our back spinal flexion. So really lifting up through the rib cage, through the belly, through the chest, and then tucking the tailbone under and trying to round our back as fully and evenly as possible. Really push your hands down and push the knees down. You look towards your belly button and then pull your hands and knees towards each other. See how that feels. And then push your hands and knees away from each other. See how that feels. For me, this is more effective in rounding the back more. Hold this for 3, maximum rounding 2, and 1. Slowly release. Now walk your knees back just a little bit, but keep your shoulders over the wrists. For a moment, do the same, but just in the shoulder blade region, where you push the shoulders up and away from each other. So you're lifting the chest, and then lower the chest, but don't bend your elbows. Try to keep the lower back a little bit stable while you do this, and then push up, round your upper back, and lower the chest. So we're practicing movement of shoulder blades and movement of upper back. This is protraction, the shoulder blades sliding apart. That's the one we will need in our crow, or all the arm balances really. And then the other one's retraction, more for back bends and other categories of poses. So do that a few times. You're pushing up and you're lowering the chest down. Keep the movement around the upper back and shoulder blade area as much as possible. And if you feel strong today, you can try the same in a plank where you lift the knees off the mat. Same thing, but of course there's more demand with more weight on the shoulders here. Last one. Good, lower the knees down. Now bring the hands or arms into cactus arms, about 90 degrees in the elbows. And then bring the left elbow under the right. And then see if you can bring the hands a little bit closer. Maybe the palms can interlace. And from here, this doesn't do anything if your elbows are too low. Lift the elbows in front of your face. And then press the forearms a little bit forward. And now again, feel that rounding in the upper back. That's the one that we're going to need for our arm balances. There's a lot of strength and power there, which we're going to tap into. And if you think your arm strength, your core strength is not that great, you will probably find that you are wrong. You will learn how to get access to it through this class and similar practices. Slowly release. Open the arms 90 degrees. And then let's swap sides. It's going to be right elbow under the left, hands wherever they go, but if you can, bring them a bit closer together, and then maybe the palms push into each other. Lift the elbows a bit, press the elbows away from your face slightly, and then squeeze the forearms, the elbows, the wrists, the hands together, and round the upper back slightly. You'll feel there's a really nice stretch in between the shoulder blades, the rhomboid muscles and the lower parts of the trapezius, if you're interested in the anatomy. And then slowly release, roll the shoulders a couple of times, just feel how that feels after this bit of shoulder work and core work. And then come into downward facing dog. And in downward facing dog, bend the knees a little bit, and first focus on the placement of the hands. We've done some wrist work, which will help you here. But also what you can do is, with your fingertips, grip into the mat a little bit so that your nails turn white. Of course, in crow pose, arm balances, our hands become like the feet. So we have to create a different kind of awareness. And then I'm just going to show you, you stay in down dog, but you've got this circle around the palm of the hand, and try to suction that whole circle down into the mat. So touch down all the parts, especially the knuckle of that of both index fingers tends to lift up a little bit. So ground down through those parts. A couple of breaths here in down dog just to feel that grounding of the hands. And then move your weight forward, your shoulders forward over the wrists in plank pose. Again, have a look at the hands. Imagine them functioning like feet, carrying more and more weight of the body. Then keep this and lift the right foot just a little bit off the mat and bring right knee towards right elbow. Maybe you can tap, maybe it just goes in that direction, it's fine. Right leg back, hover the left leg, bend the left knee and bring it forward, maybe tap. Step the left foot back, one more time, right leg hovers, squeeze it forward, feel the hip flexor work. Step it back, lift the left leg, squeeze the left knee forward and back to downward facing dog. And then slowly start to walk your feet up to the front of the mat. Move the feet a little bit wider. And then do squat to forward bend a few times. And then don't just let the hips sink down, but imagine you actively pulling the hips down with your hamstrings, and the glutes should also be active at the lower point. So pull yourself down and push them up. Pull down and push up. One more, squat. Forward fold, wiggle your feet to hip distance. Bend your knees a lot and then slowly roll up to standing. Nice. Roll the shoulders back a couple of times. We'll just flow through a couple of sun salutations to warm up all parts of the body. Not too much attention to alignment, just focus on the attention and the breath. Here we go, inhale, raise the arm. Exhale, forward fold. You can bend your knees, it's a good idea. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, flat back. Exhale, the hands back, right foot back. And then move both hands inside the left foot can wiggle a little bit to the side. And then just a couple of times do a little push up. Lowering the chest, bending the elbows, lifting, and then at the end you do that protraction that we practiced before, where the shoulder blades slide apart and the upper back is strong and rounded. Nice, inhale to plank. Lower the knees. Keep the belly strong. Now lean forward, bend your elbows. This is the elbow position for crow pose. And then lower down. Inhale, brief cobra. Don't lift too high. Lower down, all fours into down dog. Inhale in down dog. Exhale the right foot forward, left knee down. Inhale, one breath, low lunge. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, rise, take it all the way up. Exhale, let's go straight back down. Bend your knees a bit, soften. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot back this time. Hands inside the right foot, make some space if you need to. Little push-ups, bend the elbows, and then push the heart up. Bend lower and straighten. Two more. So when we push the upper back up, that's more like the action that we're going to practice in crow pose. Inhale to plank. Lower the knees, keep belly strong, lean a little bit forward. Bend your elbows a slight little bit. Lower down. Inhale, cobra, chest forward, nice counter pose. And exhale, back to down dog. Inhale in down dog. Exhale, step the left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, one breath, low lunge. Exhale, step forward lightly and fall. Inhale, let's rise, push your feet down. Exhale, all the way down. Let's continue, so round 2. Inhale, flat back, heart goes forward. Exhale, the right leg back. Same thing, left foot wiggle it out, hands inside the left foot, and then 4 little lizard push-ups or whatever you want to call it. 2, 3. So work on arm and shoulder stability, and also a bit of hip work to get that knee close to that left shoulder, you'll notice. 4, might have lost count, not sure. Inhale, plank. You can repeat the knees down, or if you're good with the knees up, then try it. But focus on the skill and the alignment. Lean forward, bend your elbows a bit. Inhale, upward facing dog, or you can stay with the cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, the right foot forward, left knee down. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale to rise, go all the way up. Last one, exhale, fold, and soften. Inhale, flat back, chest forward. Exhale, hands down, left foot back, hands inside the right foot. And a couple of times you can use the breath. Exhale to go down, inhale to push up. We're doing 4. With your full attention, move through these simple movements. The crow is not our goal. The goal is to use our body and mind in the best way possible to maximize our potential. That's one of the things yoga does. Plank pose, step back. With or without knees, chaturanga, bend your elbows. Upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, the left forward, right knee down. Inhale, rise, lift the arms. Exhale, hands down, step forward, fold. Inhale, go all the way up. Hands reach. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment, close your eyes, a couple of breaths to feel and to recenter. Nice. From here, bend your knees, touch your fingertips down next to the toes, and then just lift your arms up for chair pose, the fierce pose. Move your hips a little bit back and really push the feet down, especially the heels. And then reach your hands forward, bend your knees a bit more, and even more. And come down into boat pose. As in boat pose, start with your feet down and then reach your hands forward. And now I'd like you to squeeze your knees into the upper arms. This is one of the secrets I'm giving you for a good crow pose, is to use the strength of the legs. Mainly the inner thighs and the hip flexors are going to be super active. And then move your feet a little bit together. This is just to clean up a couple of details. So the inside of the feet, all the foot, the heel together. And my hands are pushing away. Your elbows might be bent for crow. If your elbows are straight, it's going to be called crane. But in both cases, your chest moves back. Your upper back is rounded. Good. Now let's try this. From boat, same thing. Knees squeeze into upper arms. My hands are pushing forward, insides of the feet are squeezing in. Everything in the lower body squeezes in and is as compact and strong as possible. Upper back is round, belly is contracting. And then from here, cross your legs. Either just step back or do Slow vinyasa, back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. Then step your right foot forward in the middle between the hands. Turn the back heel down so that the heels are more or less aligned in the same line. And then reach your arms out, warrior two pose, Virabhadrasana 2. The feet are grounded. And then the core is strong. Feel your midsection, going to be really important for our crow pose. So here, bring the arms into cactus arms again. And then bring right elbow under the left for eagle arms. So one more time, create that slightly rounded upper back. Strong belly. And a good stretch in between the shoulder blades. And then slowly release this. Bring your right elbow to the right thigh. This is the first option. The left arm can go straight up and over for side angle pose. If you've got a little bit more space, then you can bring right hand inside the right knee. There's always blocks or a book or whatever you can find to have your hand on, if you like. And then I'm squeezing this front knee onto my right upper arm and reaching the top arm over. So experience that. It's mostly about the squeezing of that right knee into the upper arm, which is going to be similar to our crow pose later on. That action, which we're isolating now. And then release that. Inhale to plank. You can skip this, go straight to down dog, of course. Or exhale, chaturanga, just to work on our shoulder strength a little bit more. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Well done. Take a breath. And then step left foot forward in between the hands. Turn the right heel down. When you're ready, come up. Check the feet. Work up the legs. Check the hips. And then finally stretch the arms forward and back. And if you can, a good bend in the front knee. Just to open the inner thighs. It's a great benefit of this pose. Keep the legs the same, but come into cactus arms. And then left elbow, bring it under the right. And lift the elbow slightly. We've done this a couple of times before. Press the forearms forward and away from you. And then feel the rounding in the upper back. One more inhale. On the exhale, start to release. Left elbow, left thigh. This is our first option. The right arm can stretch up and over. Or left hand down, maybe with the block. Or on the fingertips, that also works nicely. And then what I'm doing, I'm squeezing the left knee into the left tricep and reaching the top arm over. So this is really to learn that feeling of that connection between the knee and the upper arm, which is one of your main points of support in the crow pose later on. Slowly release. You know the choices, down dog, child's pose, or there's always the chaturanga vinyasa of your choice. You can do locust, you can do cobra, you can do sphinx, you can skip all of it. If it's a bit much, then just find a pose to rest in or to stay in for a couple of breaths. Nice. From here, walk your feet forward into a squat. And then place your hands a little bit in front of you and squeeze your knees in to the upper arms. Here's that same feeling again of that connection. And then do this. Round your upper back more. Usually we don't squat like this, but to learn crow, this is a good one. Round your back and push your hands down a little bit in front of you. Later on, we're going to lean forward and bring more weight into the hands. But let's start here. Nice. From here, straighten the legs, wiggle the feet to hip distance, forward fold. Inhale, let's go all the way up. Reach your fingertips. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, rise. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back, chest goes long. From here, bend your knees, fingertips down, and then lift your arms up. Look forward and then lean a little bit more weight into the heels, so the hips move a little bit back, the toes become lighter, the heels are pressing down as well as the ball of the foot. Good. Reach your hands forward, keep that hips back, chest forward. Bend your knees more, bend your knees more. And you've guessed it, we're going to come into seated crow. Insides of the feet together. Squeeze your knees in, round your back, belly moves back, chest moves back, hands push forward. Nice. From here, stay balancing on the hips. Squeeze knees together this time. Lean your knees a bit left. And then your hands go to the right for side crow. Squeeze the knees. Squeeze your outer knee onto the elbow. And again, push away. And then go to second side. Hands go left. Knees go a little bit right. Squeeze, push, and round. You're trying to make this pose as compact as possible. And then release that. Cross your legs. Get out of here. Chaturanga, or you can go straight to down dog, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a breath. From here, inhale, lift the right leg high. Exhale, bring the right knee to your right upper arm as high as you can, maybe outside that shoulder even. Lift the right leg high. And then step your right foot inside the right hand. Turn the left heel down, leave a bit of space between the feet. And then lift up into warrior one. So the chest faces to the front of the mat. Don't worry too much about where the hips face. Reach your hands back, clasp them together, and then squeeze shoulder blades together. This is just a little counter pose. All that chest and shoulder work we've been doing. And then keep this humble warrior. Just round your back and fold inside that front leg. Or towards the front leg, that's fine. Keep the legs strong. And then just release the hands. And I'll walk your right hand a little bit under that right thigh. And then what I like to do is hold the ankle and snuggle my shoulder a little bit under that right knee. Any amount is fine. And then if it's available, you can hold your right ankle with both hands. And then round your back. And soften in. With every breath, feel how you're invited to dive a little bit deeper into this unknown. Maybe it's the first time you're doing these arm balances or this kind of practice, which is fine. We're just starting with where we are at the moment. And then slowly release your back knee down And bring your hands to your heart. Good. Twist left elbow over the right knee. So this is just a bit of preparation for our side crow later, where we're going to need a lot of elements from the crow, but also a good spinal twist. So feel that rotation around the spine. Feel the right shoulder open. And if you want, you can tuck the back toes under and push the left toes down to lift that back knee. If it's not happening, then don't worry about it. And then release the hands down. Inhale to plank. Exhale, you can skip all this, of course, if you need a rest. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Just stretch out the front of the body. It's very compacted in a practice like this. Exhale, downward facing dog. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale, lift the left leg high. Exhale, bring the left knee as high above that left elbow as you can, maybe touching the outer shoulder. Inhale, the left leg high. Exhale, left foot, step it forward inside the left hand. Turn the right heel down, facing forward with the upper body. Lift the arms, warrior one. And then swim your arms back, clasp your hands, lift and open the chest for a moment. Feels great after all that core and chest strengthening. And then humble warrior, start to fold forward towards that left knee. You might end up anywhere. And if you've got space, go a little bit inside the knee even. Strong legs, relaxed head, neck, shoulders. And then release the hands. Left arm, move it a little bit under that left leg. I like to push the back of the heel and the shin to wiggle my arm a little bit under. And if it's available, you can hold the left shin with both hands. Maybe the right elbow even touches down for extra support. And then one more little element I forgot on the last side. Squeeze your left knee in to your left shoulder. Good. Release the hands. Release the back knee down. Come up with the hands to the heart. Preparing for a twist. Right elbow over the left knee. Press the hands together. Press the elbow and the knee together. And rotate to the side. This is great. You can stay here for a couple more breaths. If you want more leg work, then start to lift the right knee by pushing the right toes down. Another breath to just feel the pose from the inside out. Just to exist in this shape for just a moment. And then release the hands. Inhale, plank. You know what to do. Exhale, slow chaturanga. Inhale, counter pose. Oh, this feels amazing. To stretch the front of the hips, the chest, the belly. You can even linger here for just a moment longer. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lower your knees. Bring the big toes to touch. Knees a little bit wide. And then rest down in child's pose. Take a moment to soften and to let go. It's important to strengthen, to push harder, to challenge ourselves. But it's at least as important to also let off the pressure and balance it with some calm and relaxing moments like this. Also, what I tell myself often
when I don't feel like doing really strong poses like crow, is that actually child's pose is just like crow, but just really, really close to the ground, isn't it? If you think about the shape of the spine and the legs, it's exactly the same, except minus all the drama and the effort. So if this is where you're at today, then it's perfect. And then slowly roll back up to sitting. Nice. Going to do one more little preparation practice before we try out all our skills that we have sharpened just now. So this is called Lulasana, the pendulum pose, I think it's called. So place your hands next to your knees. So I'm on the tops of my feet here. Place your hands next to the knees. And then the first thing I'm going to do again is round the back. So from neutral spine, I'm rolling the shoulders forward. I'm lifting the chest and the belly up. I'm getting a little stretch in the spine, even around the back body. So keep that. Push the hands down and lift the knees a little bit. And lower down. I'm going to do 5 of these. Knees, lift them up towards your chest. Push your hands down, that's 2. Lower down. Even if you don't go all that high, it's okay. Do what you can. Lift the knees. Lower the knees. I've got 2 more. Lift. And lower. Last one, if you feel super strong, maybe the feet can also lift. Let's hope for the best. Lift. And lower. Wow. So this is really teaching us to press down, to round your back, to use that strength in the upper body. And if you thought that was hard, you're absolutely right. This is very hard. And I would say, if you manage to do this, the crow pose is a whole lot easier. So, well done. Take a block. If you've got a block, I think it's a really great tool to start to practice crow, especially if you're very new to this. You can elevate your feet. We're going to use this as a launch pad. You can elevate your feet in any way that you want. So if you've got something else, then that's okay. Then I'm going to bring the balls of the feet onto that little perch. Remember, we're transforming into little birds for flight school. And this is our first attempt. So the insides of the feet are together. I'm opening the knees a little bit wide, and then I'm going to bring the elbows, the upper arms, and even the shoulders inside the knees. Remember what I said, one of the secrets to squeeze the knees in, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm even feeling some trembling in the inner thighs, that's a good thing. So now I have this compact, tiny little cannonball structure. Now what I'm going to do is lift the hips up, and as I lift the hips up, I've got space to slide my hands a little bit closer to the feet. Good. So I'm not lifting up, I'm starting from a lifted position, which is much easier. And now I'm not going up or down. All I'm going to do is lean forward, squeeze the knees in, and that's it. I'm feeling more weight into my fingertips. The head is leaning forward, and here you can try lift one foot off your pad and place it down. You can lift the left foot off your pad and place it down. And if you're like, yeah, let's go for it, then lean forward a tiny bit more until the feet come off. You can keep the feet low or clean it up by lifting heels to your buttocks. And then no need to hold for very long. Come back down. Congratulate yourself for your first lesson in baby bird flight school. All right, I want to show you another way which I really like, which is instead of a launch pad, a crash pad. Because if you do crow pose, the danger, of course, is that you go too far forward and that your face plants down on your yoga mat. So this is a little safety against that. So what I'm going to do is place my hands in a triangle shape in front of the block, so the block is forwards. Again, I'm setting it up, I'm lifting the hips, I'm squeezing the knees high up onto the upper arms. They might be more on the outside, which is okay. And then I'm going to lean forward and place my head on the block. That's it. So I'm actually in crow pose already with my whole body, and if I push my head down, I can lift 1 foot, maybe 2 feet off the mat. So there's no risk of face planting because you've got this extra little head support. So I hope one of these 2 ways of the block helped you to get into that feeling. Another way to do a crash pad is, of course, place a whole lot of pillows at the front of your mat, no problem. So now you could repeat any one of those, launch from the block or have a block under the forehead, or if you're ready, you can give it a try without any props. And the setup is the same. I like to start a little squat, and then almost like you're getting to the front of a big concert and your favorite artist is playing, so you elbow your way in front of your shins and knees. Stay here, squeezing the knees in, planting the hands down. I'm rounding my back, lifting the belly, lifting the chest, looking a little bit forward, and then I'm not lifting up, I'm just leaning forward. So now, if you look at, if I'm a seesaw, all the weight is towards my buttocks, and the more I lean forward, the more weight gets to the head side, which allows me to lift the feet. And then if you want to clean up your crow, then first activate your feet, point them back, and then later try to straighten the arms a little bit more, which is crane. None of these are a walk in the park. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing yoga, these remain demanding and challenging poses. So, well done. We've got a couple of minutes left to do side crow. I want to face forward to show you a little bit better here. So here in side crow, it's important to keep the knees together as one, as if I'm having only one leg. I'm going to turn the knees a bit to the right. Then I'm going to squeeze my right elbow as far over the left knee as possible. If you're just over the knee, it's going to be easy to slide off, so try to go a little bit further down. And now I'm turning my fingers towards the opposite side of the mat. Nice. So here, I'm squeezing the knees together, and I'm going to lean away in the direction of the fingers. And again, the more I lean, the more the feet come off the mat, like a seesaw effect. I'm just showing you what that looks like dynamically. And then once you feel you've got it, lift the feet and set them down. Good. Got one more side to do, and we'll take it easy. Both knees together, a little bit to the left. Take your left elbow over the right knee, not just over the knee, but if you can, go a little bit more towards the middle of the thigh. Then I'm placing the hands down. Actually, I think I turned a little bit too much last time, so I'm going to turn a little bit more forward. Try that out. And then I'm going to lean in the direction of my fingertips. So forward, forward, forward. I'm squeezing the knees. And then when I feel the feet get lighter, they might lift. Or they might not lift today, which is also good. Great. That was it. Flight school is over. Let's do a couple of mild counter poses just to celebrate whatever we have learned. Celebrate showing up. Maybe you've had a couple of new insights and maybe even a breakthrough where you experience something for the first time. All of that is fine, but it can't be forced, and it's also not the most important thing. The most important is that you keep coming back to your yoga mat And a pose like that, the crow, the arm balances can help to just keep you coming back and to practice more. So here, not too many instructions. I'm in Sphinx pose. I'm just lightly pressing the elbows down and pulling them a little bit towards me to broaden the chest. But keep it a little bit mild. Take a few breaths into the belly, into the lower back, into all sides of the rib cage, front, the back, the sides, the bottom and the top. Feel the solid ground underneath you. No more need to balance on the hands. And slowly just release the forehead down onto the hands. Make a little pillow with your hands. Relax the legs, relax the arms. And then from here, just lift your right knee up to the side and thread your left arm under the right armpit. Just need to move my microphone. Thread the left arm under the right armpit. And then slide the left shoulder a little bit further out and lift the right arm. And let the right arm just lean back. It's fine that that right arm is just hovering in the mid-air. Mine usually does. But you also find the longer you stay in this pose, the closer that right arm is drawn down to the mat, to the ground behind you. Let that right arm be an invitation to open the shoulder, the upper back, this gentle twist. And soften as much as you can. And then slowly return to center. Make a pillow again, rest your forehead, and rest for a few breaths. And then let's do second side, left knee lifted up to your side. The right arm threaded under and slide it through a little bit. Head can just relax, lift the left arm and lean it back without lifting that left knee off the ground. And let the left arm just be the weight inviting you into the twist. No need to push and force anything. Just hang out here for a couple breaths more. And then slowly release. Now turn over onto your back. Bend your knees and place the feet quite wide. Maybe on the edges of the mat is good. And then I like to open the arms wide and just windscreen wipe the knees slowly from side to side.
feeling your body after this, trying out some pretty demanding poses, still quite a lot of focus, strength, skill and technique. And it's quite possible the first times you try them, they are not going to work as you would like. So it will require a lot of practice to come back over and over and slowly chip away at some of those new skills you're developing. But the most important skill is, of course, to show up and do what you can on that day. Slowly start to straighten out your legs and your arms. And start to get ready for final relaxation with Shavasana. After all that strong work, can you just invite the body to rest here? To surrender to Mother Earth underneath you. To allow the face to soften, shoulders to melt into the mat. Your belly and the lower back to release their grip. No tension around the hips or the legs. Feel the hands and feel the feet just rest in place. Let the breath massage you from the inside. If you have the luxury of a little bit more time at the end of your practice, then by all means stay in this pose for a little bit longer. Maybe 5, 10, 15 extra minutes can really do wonders. If it's time for you to move on to your next activity, then deepen your breath. Move your hands and move your feet. And then bend your knees, roll over onto your side. And gently push up to sitting. Bring your hands together in front of the chest. Take a moment of gratitude to yourself for showing up, for doing things that are new and challenging, maybe unknown, maybe really scary. And thank yourself for showing up for your health and well-being, which will help you to be there for everybody else as well. Touch your hands to your forehead, to your heart center.
And bow to yourself on the mat. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste, everybody. Thank you for coming to this first version of Flight School. We'll do a lot more sessions with other arm balances later on, but this is a good foundational practice to start with. I hope you enjoyed. See you again soon.